Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey there, onesies. It's the show that promised you nothing, so we won't disappoint you. The audience of one show right here on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5, as well as irlonestar.com and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Andrew, sitting alongside the guy who clicks on everything in 4chan, Dick Shizzler.
Yes, I do click on everything.
Everything. 4chan, bring it on. More clicks, the more better.
It's more about, what does that wise person say?
Scattershoot, man, scattershoot.
No, it's like experiences define who you'll be. Well,
sure.
I go on 4chan and experience as much as possible.
There you go. You made it this far, right?
I can't believe that website exists. That's great. You know what it reminds me? Okay, if people don't know what 4chan is, it's a website that's terrible, that has like anything the most horrific things in the world. But it got me thinking. I go, what did people like this do before the internet?
Yeah, right. I mean,
because there's got to be evidence of like horrific stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they were probably exchanging things in PO boxes.
What was that thing?
Newspaper
like Faces
clippings
of
and
Death.
Stuff.
Wasn't that like a VHS, like legit?
It was something you kind of found in the corner of Blockbuster. You go in the back and you're like, oh, Faces of Death.
Oh, that's a real video.
Mom and Dad don't want me to look at this. But that was just like horrific pictures of crime scenes and car accidents.
But that's what I'm saying.
Things,
like
right? That was the precursor.
Typically, that kind of
4chan.
information isn't just like readily available on Facebook or something. Like you can't just post a picture of some dude getting shot in the face.
You wouldn't think.
But so like but that stuff exists.
Yeah, it does. Sadly,
for some reason, people like posting it.
Yeah, and some people like clicking on it.
Well, I've told you, our experiences define who we'll be.
That's right, man. You're very deep and philosophical.
So I'm a psychopath now. I have gone through the runner of 4chan, and now I cannot stop. No, it's good.
Man.
But it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, I have been on vacation for the past week.
Would you call it vacation? Because you were telling me about it, and it sounded like more like you're either tagging along.
No, not at all.
Or you're the help, like you're
not at all.
You're just helping the whole time.
I don't know what you're referring to, but no, we were on the go. So we traveled to Florida and made a stop in New Orleans for the night to sort of break up the 11-hour drive.
Did you go to the World War II Museum?
We did not. We're not gonna have enough time. In fact, that's sort of a somber remembrance, and this was a vacation that we wanted to be more upbeat.
I just know kids like it.
Yeah, you're right. They love World War II stuff.
No, like the way they designed it was like you could touch and do all this cool stuff.
Well, we did see signs for it, and we did say that it was something
shot in the face, dude.
It is something that we would want to do eventually. We did say, next time we come down here, we'll do it. It was just not part of this plan.
No, I get it. There's a lot of things to do.
There is. So we stayed in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
The night
I've been there.
Going there, and then on the way back, and we split up both trips. So you have been to the French Quarter. Mm-hmm. Thoughts?
You can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you can.
Which I enjoy places like that.
Yeah. Well, to me, the French Quarter, maybe not New Orleans as a whole, but the French Quarter is like this weird convergence of elegance and filth
and piss on the street
and vomit, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably
That's
because
I think that was the first time I ever seen someone piss like so blatantly in public.
Just like, what up? I'm doing it right
here.
Like
in the alley, like right there. And I was like,
your street is my urinal.
Yeah. Yes. Like legit. And it was during the day. And I was like, I was with my dad. I was like 14 years old. I remember seeing that. I remember when we were there, and my dad's like, just to let you know, the street is something interesting to be part of in New Orleans. So just keep your hands to yourself. Don't acknowledge anybody unless, I acknowledge them. Oh, he was warning me, and I totally got it.
Yeah, at 14.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, I get this.
Like, this guy's pissing. This guy's probably pickpocketing. This guy's doing cards over here. This little kid's doing some dance that then he wants money for. And I'm like,
it's weird because like you'll have these high-end restaurants, high-end hotels, and some of these like antique shops with literally we walked into a couple antique shops that had $150,000 lamps from France, from the 18th century. It's like, this is amazing. But then you have to trip over a homeless guy tweaking right outside the door when you're on your way out. It's like, what? This is a weird place. But
cool.
The food is amazing. It's the smells are interesting. At any one given moment, you're smelling.
Well, you know what,
sewage,
what
vomit,
I love about towns like that,
bad decisions.
It's been around for a long time, but it also gives you it's almost like, oh, hey, this is the 1800s.
It does. It is like you step back either in time or into another country, because that was obviously settled by the French, and they brought over a lot of their French architecture and the buildings, very Parisian.
We know the French like to piss on walls.
I think they actually omitted that part of it. That was something we added to it. We have to put our own American flavor on this.
I like how
piss
bad
on
that is, though, for the building.
Urine?
People don't realize how bad urine is.
Tell me how bad urine is for a building.
So,
Jake.
you want me to tell you? Okay. So, to give you an example how bad urine is for building construction, is look up Brazil Stadium.
All right.
I think it was 2014. They had to move because they had the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil, and they were trying to figure out stadiums, and one of the stadiums failed because all the people drinking beer and pissing on the sides of the buildings.
Oh my
and
God.
so they couldn't hold all the people in the stands. And because you can imagine years and years and years of this abuse.
Sure, yeah.
And
so eventually, what did they do to correct
they
this?
had to build a new one.
It literally destroyed the structure of the
because
building
because when you do a World Cup bid, you have to provide X amount of stadiums.
Sure, okay.
And they're like, hey, these are the stadiums. And then,
was this a new construction or an older? Oh,
old.
They ruined an old building.
So that's what I'm saying. It's been going on for like 20, 30 years,
man.
40 years. And so it's just like, yeah, there are people. That's why that was part of the ban of alcohol in Brazil for stadiums, because people were just pissing.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want to miss the game, so they would just go down the stairwell real quick, just piss right there, and then run back up.
So I don't know how much Katrina gave the French Quarter a bath, but in the 20 years, 18 years, whatever since, it's gotten filthy again, apparently, because it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, well, that's cool. New Orleans is fun. I think
it is a lot of fun, but it got me thinking about some of the dirtiest cities in the United States, because I thought this place has got to rank up there in terms of filthiness for all the reasons.
Now we're going into the show?
Oh, that's right. Serious talk.
Yeah, we're going into the show now. I guess we don't care. We don't care what I did this weekend.
No.
We had the music's already playing. We're transitioning into the show.
You realize you started the
Zip up onesies.
You started.
Let's go.
You started the music yourself.
I know I did.
I have no control over it.
Well, I just really know my weekend was boring. Who cares? Cooked a brisket. It was really hot outside. It was hot. And I loved it. I loved every moment being outside.
Yeah, guess who's in flip-flops and shorts today?
Oh, I'm in rust mode.
Yeah.
Because I've been around a fire pit for
you do look like
15, 16 hours. My throat feels like it.
You do look like at any moment you could pee on the side of a building.
I actually used the toilet this weekend. I was very surprised. Because usually I'm just like, when you're cooking, you're like, oh, let's walk over here, whatever. I did not.
You actually, congratulations for using a toilet.
It was weird. I guess I have a weird thing when like there's more than like two people there. Mm-hmm. I was like, I guess I have to use the restroom because I don't want people to think I'm an animal.
Wow. So I understand what you're saying now. I'm picturing this in my mind because I have a feeling I know where you were at.
Yeah.
And this place does have a pee area that you could just go
it has
use.
A field.
Yeah.
I can go.
But if there's mixed company, you're like, you know what? Out of respect to the 4 people here, I might as well use the facilities like a normal human being.
Yeah, it's yeah.
No, I don't know that we're necessarily starting the show. The show never ends in my mind,
True.
by the way. So, but no, it got me thinking about dirty cities, and I thought, man, where does New Orleans rank? And
it's got to be number 1.
That's what I was thinking.
Or San Francisco, I imagine.
I was
5 at least.
I was thinking, yeah. So it made me look this up, and in a LawnStarter.com study from this year, New Orleans comes in at number 54.
What?
And I thought, wait a minute. What's going on here? It says researchers say they looked at the 200 biggest cities and they gathered publicly available data on pollution, living conditions, infrastructure, and consumer satisfaction. I'm like, okay. So they're not looking at things like number of people peeing on buildings.
Number 1 is great.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that. We don't want to spoil it. And this is the reason why I brought it up. So, because to me, when you're walking down the streets
of LawnStarter.com,
I don't know. When you're walking down the streets of New Orleans, to me, it's just patently obvious that this is filthy. But this study said when they averaged all the scores out, they found that, drum roll, Houston, Texas is the dirtiest.
Shreveport, that's great.
Which I think is funny.
Lawnstarter.com, just to let people know,
yeah.
it is a lawn care service.
Okay.
So
Well, they somehow conducted. They probably just aggregated some stats from another site. But the thing is, I looked it up a few different times, and New Orleans was not on the top of the list of any of these.
because they don't have any lawns.
Right.
That's why.
Now, it's weird, but it's not up there on any of
Because
these.
everyone's peeing all over their lawn and killing the grass.
It says the other top 5 dirtiest cities included Newark, New Jersey, San Bernardino, California, Detroit, Michigan, and Jersey City, New Jersey. But amongst them all is Houston. Way to represent H-Town.
It is dirty.
So you think it's kind of filthy? Because I've been down there in
Well,
downtown
I
just a
think
couple months ago.
It's
and
weird because
I
like
didn't think it was that bad.
if you go to the medical center, it's and then like if you go to like Midtown, I'm trying to think like what's the dirtiest area, because right there in the medical center it can get pretty dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of the area where the big park is, right down there, like where the Hotel of Americas is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big park. That's, I guess they make an effort to clean it up. It's not bad at all.
But they're probably trying to. Like, again, this is lawnstarter.com.
Right.
And
Well, I think the difference too is the difference between the two cities specifically is in downtown Houston you have a lot of businesses, and in the French Quarter you have a lot of shops and restaurants and things with a lot of permeability. So there's a lot more, and the blocks are really small, and the streets are really narrow, and the setback. So you feel like you're a lot more confined. Maybe it's just the filth is just a little bit more concentrated. But when you add up everything, apparently this study, Houston.
I gotta find out because I want to. I mean, I don't know how you'd lose to New York.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, these studies are basically
air quality indexes, water quality, homes
Yeah.
with mold, mice, rats, and number of junkyards in the city.
So I guess when you
Fair
put all
enough.
that together, the French Quarter can't. I guess it just can't compete. So come on,
Well,
New Orleans, dirty it up.
I think it also might be the size of Houston
Yeah,
compared to other
a lot of big cities.
Because
Yeah.
like New York, people in New York don't even consider the 5 boroughs in New York. Like that study probably just did like Brooklyn. I'm like, oh,
Right.
that's
No. Well,
because the 5 boroughs, right?
I mean, sure, I've
Like
heard.
they're cults or whatever. They're like gangs.
Well, I know they're culturally very different. They have a diverse history behind them, and you'll find like different accents and things just as you go across. New
You're
York,
not
which
from
is-
New York.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Although I think some of that is slowly disappearing.
Houston doesn't have that though. Unfortunately,
No,
I wish we had
no.
gangs like that.
Oh, gangs of New York.
Yeah, no,
gangs of Houston?
Houston's just. We do not want gangs. I was kidding.
No, no.
But this how big Houston goes, because
Mm-hmm.
now you know what I've noticed now. He's like, if you look up towns, my favorite thing is, so I was looking up Angleton.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bowling tournament in Angleton, and our buddies Craig and
Angleton.
Will Angleton,
Where Angleton,
Texas.
Texas. Okay.
Okay, it's south of Houston.
Okay. Not familiar with it.
So, but when you look it up, it says Angleton's part of the Harris County, Galveston,
Metro
Woodlands
area.
metro area. I'm like, why would they put the Woodlands metro area
Right.
where it's furthest as it could be from the town itself?
Yeah.
But then they consider it all one big
Isn't that called an MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area?
something.
Somehow they
That's
make
probably
those
what the
boards.
data. Their data's
Yeah.
We
But I
got-
just found that interesting. So, oh my God.
yeah, dirty's dirty, man.
Okay. Well,
Because New York, I see when they say rats, this is where I get weirded out because there's rats everywhere in New York. Because
Sure.
their trash service has to be put on the front.
yeah. As same with French Quarter. I saw bags of trash just
so
lining
there's
the
got to be
streets.
rats everywhere. dude.
Every day was trash day apparently in New Orleans, man. Like every day we
No,
went down,
it-
they were like, "Why are they putting
well,
trash out?"
it's-
I guess they come by daily. That's the point.
Well, that's what I love is like my dad's a history guy, so he always liked to bring me to history places, like historic places. So he loved New Orleans, and it was just the way he was trying to protect me. Quotes.
Yeah.
It was hilarious because I'm 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just almost becoming an adult where I could drive, and so I think I could like handle my own.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this place is weird.
Yeah, my
Like,
daughter's 15. She went down there, and we walked down Bourbon Street in the day
Yeah.
for just a couple of blocks, and it was already crazy. Some dude standing on top of his car playing an air guitar. No, I guess it was actual real guitar, and singing, and somebody playing horn, just drinking and debauchery already occurring at 4 in the afternoon. And She goes, yeah, I don't like this. And I was like, that's fine. We just wanted you to see it. And so we diverted our path. But overall, great. I will go back. Just, you want to be in before it gets too late and enjoy the food, which is exactly what I did.
You'll dress up.
Well, while I was there, perhaps the biggest story, I guess, of 2023 was occurring. And I guess we have to at least talk a little bit about.
Is it the biggest story?
So far? I mean, it was massive, right? Wasn't it everywhere?
I didn't really get
And this
it.
is the submarine, the missing submarine story.
Ocean Gate.
Ocean Gate. That's right. Look,
That's what it's called, right? That was the business?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Ocean, I think, yeah, which is kind of funny. They already named it
After-
something.
yeah.
Right, something nefarious, so we don't have to come up with something ourselves. They already named it Ocean Gate. Well, this story broke when I was on vacation, so I was not plugged into the news at all. I mean, didn't even turn the television on.
You didn't even think about Audience of One.
Oh, I think about Audience of One all the time. It goes on in my head constantly.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have to admit, I did fall for the media trap of, oh no, these people went missing and they've lost communication and they've only got 90 hours of oxygen and we're going to be searching for them and we're hearing little clicks on the water every 30 minutes and we're searching. I was like, oh my gosh, how terrible for these people to be trapped down there. And for days, I was putting myself into their scenario of they're just going absolutely insane sitting in this tube for days. Yeah, not the case at all. As it turns out, that sucker imploded pretty quickly.
So, okay, I have no information about this. I honestly, when I first heard it, I go, yeah, that's what happens when you get in a submarine that goes in the water. Like, you don't really do that unless you're a military,
Right, right.
Unless you have some time. I don't know. But the thing I didn't really understand about it, though, was have they never been, to the Titanic?
These people have not.
So this was like a first test,
right?
Man on the moon situation.
Yeah.
For their...
So you're hitting on something there.
Okay. Now, see, that's what I was like. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Now I think they had sent 3 unmanned ships down there already. This company did, 2 of which were unsuccessful. One which was 30% chance of success. Man, what else could go wrong? But what I didn't know, and I had to kind of do a deep dive on this company when I got back from vacation, was this thing was doomed right from the start.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of weird things.
This guy...
Because I didn't really understand, who makes their own subs.
Right. No, well...
Because I feel like James Cameron has this exact same story, like a while back.
Yes.
Am I mistaken about that? Did he start a company or...
No, I think he was using proven technology either
but
to
he
the military.
But he made a sub. It wasn't like he called the military and the Navy and like, yo, can I rent this?
Yeah,
I made Terminator.
I don't know the specifics on James Cameron other than the fact that he has gone down there 30 times himself successfully.
But I feel like he did the same thing. Like he developed.
I don't know that he was developing as much as he was using
he
other.
He pioneered some diving stuff. I feel like that's what he did.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at James Cameron. Although, like I said, he was successful at it because he did it the right way. Yeah, I'm sorry. But this guy, Stockton Rush, he was the CEO of this company, Ocean Gate, and apparently he was kind of a loose cannon. And I didn't know anything about this. Like I said, I had to kind of research this quickly when I got back from vacation the other day. This thing was doomed right from the start. He was cutting corners, regulations be damned.
There's probably not a lot of regulations building.
No,
submarines.
I think there are. I think there are lots.
No
and he was rushing this basically to expedite his business of ocean travel. Just like people are sending rockets to outer space.
He wanted to be the Elon Musk.
He wanted to be the Elon Musk of the sea and was rushing things and didn't really care. Now, I'm not going to say this guy murdered these people. I'm going to stop short of that. But he's definitely... he's definitely responsible for their deaths in a roundabout way.
There was a piece of paper handed to them.
Oh, I'm sure they signed off on it, right? But
that's funny to me, though. What's so bizarre to me is that had to have that mind. You had to have that mindset of the first moon landing. Hey, we're going somewhere where this has not been. Yeah, this sub has never been down there, even though other people have been down here. With other better
so that's
subs.
the thing. It's not like no one's ever been down there, and it's not like we don't know what it looks like. But I guess it's just when you're a billionaire, you can flex on people and say, look, I've been down the bottom of the ocean 12,000 feet and seen the Titanic. But to me, if I was this guy Stockton Rush and you were doing this right, you would have taken this at levels, so to speak, where maybe you pioneer something that can go several thousand feet and people can just see wonderful aquatic, coral reefs and things. No. We're going to go 12,000 12,000 feet down. And because you're paying for this, we have to have this large window. And that, I believe, is the problem. This thing had a relatively speaking, large observation bubble so that you could see out of it. And they're thinking that thing just could not withstand the pressure. And boom, these people died instantly, man. The pressure down there basically turns your body into spaghetti. It's
pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah.
Faces of Death cool.
Oh, no, I'm sure. I wouldn't recommend looking at it. I'm sure you can look up imploded bodies from submarine implosions, and I think it's
Can you
probably
imagine the
pretty
first
gruesome.
time figuring that out?
What's that? That people
Like
look like
with the
spaghetti?
first submarine, it's like, hey, we're going down. Let's see how far we can go. And it's a dunk. And you're like, whoa,
There's a lot of pressure down
there's
there.
something going, there's a monster down there.
Well, think about it. When you dive into a pool and you go down like 10 feet, you can start to feel that pressure on your head and your ears. And I'm like, man, can you imagine 12,000? It's got to be a ton. I guess he was using materials that were just not
I see,
up for that type of
I don't
pressure.
Really get it. I don't.
Yeah, but there's been a couple of cool things that have come out of this. His wife, Wendy Rush, I don't know if you've heard this. She was actually a descendant of a couple that died on the Titanic. How odd is this? And her great-great-grandparents were actually depicted in the movie, the Titanic, James Cameron's 1997 Titanic. They were the couple that were laying in the bed together when the water rushed in and they went down with the ship. That's actually her great-great-grandparents, and he married her. Kind of a weird twist of fate.
When
man.
I saw that scene, I was like, they just gave up?
I think there weren't enough boats. They knew it, and they said, well, we're old, so I think weren't they only giving out to women and children, supposedly, and they were elderly, so you've seen the movie.
Like maybe once.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, seriously, maybe once.
No, I thought it was a decent movie. I just think
remember
Leo was a little miscast. But
the only scene I really remember is when that dude fell. When the ship was vertical into the water, and that dude fell and like hit a pole or something, and it made that ding noise. It was like bang,
bing. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was like,
'cause he was
whoa.
falling down and he hit something on the ship as he was
something.
sliding down. Yeah,
I was like, that's kind of graphic, but I
it's
saw
probably somebody with a pot and pan.
Yeah,
Boom,
that's like
noise.
the only thing I really remember about that movie. I was like, dang, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah. Well, there was probably a huge expense too that we had to pay for. We being the taxpayers to search for these guys, but. One other interesting note was the Navy apparently knew this happened right away.
Well, yeah.
Because they have...
You don't think they know about the sea monsters?
Well, of course they do.
Of course.
They know where Nessie is.
Yeah.
They're feeding her, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
No, they apparently heard...
She's a private.
she's one of
In
the
the
captains.
Navy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. No, apparently they heard the explosion right around the exact same time they lost communication with this submarine. They didn't want to come right out and say it because I guess the Navy is using some technology that we didn't really want to expose how we were able to.
Well,
so
now
they
it's
kept
exposed.
Well, now it is. And I guess they had to put together some sort of how do we want to release this information, but they knew about it immediately.
Well,
The Navy knew it
Hey,
immediately.
it's called don't release it and keep your mouth shut.
Right. Well, it's out there. I think it's a Wall Street Journal
Man,
article.
our
I was
military
reading.
is losing it, man.
Well, no, I think they found it. That was the whole point. But they allowed these people to go out there for days, man, searching for this. And the Navy's going, bro, we know they ain't around. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
but who cares?
We're hearing knocking every 30 minutes. I'm
It's
like,
not
yeah,
their job.
That was some other ship out on the water, man. No, it's not their job. No,
Yeah.
it's not. And they couldn't say anything, apparently.
Well, how do we find out that they couldn't say anything?
Well, again, I read a Wall Street Journal
This is all made
article.
up. This is all these-
No. This is legit, man. I don't know. Did I even put something about that in the run sheet? I probably
Well,
didn't.
I heard that, and I was like, this is making sense.
Oh, hold on, you heard it too, and you're giving me crap. All right.
No, I said I heard about the military saying, "Oh, we knew," but it's like, but no, this is all made up. Because if you knew, you wouldn't have told us. And if you're now telling us after the fact, you're just like a jerk.
Well,
Like I mean,
that's what I say. They're in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Let people search for 30 minutes, 3 or 4 days, and they're like, yeah, by the way, we knew those guys were dead immediately.
well,
That was doomed. But the last part that I find most interesting is the stepson of one of the billionaires that was on board. And this is, I guess, Harding was one of the billionaires. I guess it's his stepson, actually, not his son, Brian. He said, hey, look, man, I know that I'm going through this big ordeal right now. He's posting this on Twitter. It's a nightmare and everything, but I'm going to go to the Blink-182 concert because my parents would have wanted it that way.
did he really say that?
Yeah, here it is. It might be distasteful, but My family would want me to be at the Blink-182 show as it's my favorite band and music helps me through difficult times. And this was the day they went missing. So he actually tweeted at the band members as well, trying to get their attention. Like, I guess he was trying to angle for some backstage passes or something. This kid is a piece of work. So once he started getting a lot of attention from these tweets, he starts tweeting back out, "Hey, ladies, I'm single," during this whole ordeal. Completely apathetic to the point that, his stepdad and his mom is grieving and his stepdad is gone. He's attending the Blink-182 concert.
I like it. I mean, he's now probably inheriting money.
He says, his other tweet says, this was tweeted at Travis Barker and Tom DeLonge, the members of Blink-182. "I'm devastated, but coming to the San Diego show tonight so that you guys can give me hope and cheer me up."
How old is this guy?
He appears to be in his early 20s.
I like it.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we talked a few weeks ago about DIY airplanes and that dude that crashed a DIY airplane. It made me think if DIY submarines were really a thing, so I looked that up, and it is.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
I think it started with the drug trafficking.
Like to make your own. Oh, I
Yeah.
get it. So that you could traffic your own drugs.
Yeah, I want to say that I don't know what the point's called. Remember that point in California between Mexico and California? They call it like the
Baja Peninsula?
I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I think that's where it started, if I remember correctly. Like they started building their own little sub that could go,
Interesting.
40 feet
Right,
below water.
right. See, they're not going down 12,000 feet.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's like 40 or 60 feet or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's not really a thing like airplanes are. You can't really get the kits necessarily, but people have actually built their own submarines. And I found this one story.
I want to see if I can buy a submarine.
You should. Do the show from a sub. This one guy,
I would never get in it.
Justin Beckerman, was walking to high school with some of his friends when they spied an abandoned soda fountain in the parking lot. And he said, "Hey, dude, you should go get that." And I guess he was going to use that as some sort of submersible to build a sub. And I'll be darned
if he was... What kind of sub you want?
I would like a California.
Do you want a mini,
with
a semi?
Bacon.
There's a luxury. Let's go to
avocado. Hold the tomatoes. But yeah, he built this thing at 18 years old, and his can go up to 30 feet deep, which I think is pretty cool, man.
Some of these are interesting looking. I want to show you on the TV real quick.
He used glue and screws. He didn't use any welding, which is pretty amazing if you ask me. But you wouldn't get on that thing.
I would never get on a submarine.
Yeah,
ever. One of my buddies is actually in the Navy, and he worked on the nuclear sub for like 8 years or something like that. And I was like, "How did that go?" and he just goes, "It's kind of freaky.
Yeah,
if you know everything about submarines, it's either going to comfort you, or it's going to freak you out."
Yeah.
Because how deep they go.
With all the stories we've been having about orcas attacking and the submarine, I'm not getting in the ocean.
I was going to send you this article. There was orca attacked the Netherlands boat team.
Telling you, man.
And during a race, so they went from like second place to fourth place.
They're pissed. They're pissed at us.
All right, here, let me show you.
You know what? I wonder if the orcas were the ones making the noises that we were picking up on every 30 minutes just to fool with us.
All right, here we go. I found us a sub. We'll get this one. This one looks like
it's
from James Bond.
That looks awesome.
See, we'll get this one.
That's a 4 to 8
person. Look at that.
But see, that doesn't look like. Look at the size of the glass there. That probably only goes a couple hundred feet or something. I'm guessing. That's the problem.
500 feet.
Yeah, 500 feet. That's still awesome.
I think it costs a lot. So I think it's several $1 million. Yeah, I like how they just do 99999. It's just gonna cost you a lot.
It's at market price.
But I mean, that kind of stuff is interesting to me because you think about what do you call them? Disaster preppers.
Yeah.
And then of course, if you're a rich guy and you're a disaster prepper, you got to get a submarine.
Of course, and that's really all this was, is rich guys flexing. But I can't help but think that...
No, I mean, like, if I was a filthy rich person and I'm like a doomsday guy,
yeah,
I would 100% get
Oh, yeah, doomsday for your own, but not to go down
a submarine, man, just in case.
I can't help but thinking, though, this is going to happen to some of these space explorations that we're seeing now. Something terrible is going to happen too. Some of these rockets that we're sending, man.
I always talk to, like, I love talking about the space stuff, like conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my belief in why we didn't go back to the moon and everything is just how dangerous it is.
Like because of the Martians?
No, just how dangerous. Like because especially with
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because like unfortunately the world is controlled by media in a way that no one can really predict. Like people try to predict,
Yeah.
Kind of like the submarine story. For some reason, it's popular. I don't really get
Oh,
it.
this was
I didn't really
tailor
get
made
it.
for the media. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I just didn't really get the only thing that I think that had the element that people cared about was billionaires, because everyone hates billionaires,
billionaires.
and so they're like, "Good, he's dead."
Right. Oh, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories
Yeah.
too around these billionaires. Did they know the Clintons? Did they have dirt on Trump? On all
Well,
this?
anyway,
4 billionaires
think-
go missing. It's not
I
coincidence.
think the Apollo, the Apollo program, they were like, if something bad happens, the press is going to be all over us about this, and we're sending people to space.
Yeah.
But no one really cares. No one knows
So
what that
you think we
means.
actually went to space? You think we went to the moon?
I hope so. That'd be cool. But
Yeah, I hope
also,
so, too,
I also
but,
think they don't want to
you
go.
know.
They're not really doing it as much because they're going to be in more trouble than it's worth. Because like, oh, we lost 4 people. They knew the risk, but then everyone's gonna, the media is gonna be like,
Yeah.
is it worth it? We're killing these people. That kind of thing.
Sure. It does seem awfully odd that we haven't been back in, I don't know, 50 some odd years.
Yeah.
A little weird.
When they came, we saw, we conquered.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, nothing to see there.
Yeah.
I don't know. A little suspect.
I like it.
All right, man. Good time.
I hope so. I really
do too. I like to believe that we did. But
Like, I would love to
know,
be
wouldn't surprise me
a
if we
wealthy
didn't.
dude and get in one of those ships and fly. I would do that. I wouldn't go in the submarine. I'd get in a rocket ship for
yeah, I'm not good. There's no way.
the submarine thing would scare
Very.
the crap out of me.
Yeah, very. And I feel sorry for that 19-year-old boy who died in there. And he basically just went down there to appease his dad for Father's Day, but he didn't want to go. Oh man,
He
that's
didn't want to go?
No, he didn't want to go. He was scared. He was like, no, this, he's on the internet seeing the CEO, Scott, whatever his name, or Stockton, whatever his name is. Yeah, he's like, no, I'm not getting on that
That's
thing.
wild, man.
Yeah, sad stories. All right, man, it's a good time to take a break. When we come back, we have more, I don't know, crazy stuff. We'll be back soon.
I like those subs.
Tasty.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Hey there, listener. This is Dick with Audience of One with my buddy Andrew.
I'm here too.
I want to remind you guys real quick that our show is basically a free show,
It is.
but we accept donations
Well,
and sponsorships.
But it must be really, really hard to sponsor or donate to the show, though.
It's really easy. I put a link in every description of our videos where you can
that's
download right then.
Oh.
It's really easy. And it's 100% legit. We are a 501c3 radio station, so if you want a tax deduction or anything like that, sponsor the show.
It's a good idea.
And donate. That's how we keep the show free and how we're able to buy cool stuff for the studio.
Yeah, and besides that, the show's really good.
That's true. And yeah. Welcome back to Audience of One.
Right here on Conroe's NPR station.
Yeah,
Get our NPR voice.
welcome back. It is the last week of June.
Yeah, it is.
So, and it's going to get hotter. Great.
I don't see how.
Uh,
I don't see how, man.
That's true. I do want to let people know we're looking. I know I left the page up for the yachts and things like that because I forgot to turn it off, so that they probably didn't see the end of the YouTube of the first segment. I was just looking at cool yachts.
Oh,
but
okay.
I found a cooler one,
Yeah, this is pretty
and
amazing.
I want to show this. This is a private submersible super yacht, and I'm not gonna lie, these pictures look generated.
Yeah, they look like
So-
artist renderings.
Yeah, they might have never built one, but they're like, hey, we can do that. And this website looks super legit, doesn't it?
I want to see it in person. Yeah, I want to see it in person first, not just a drawing.
But what's funny to me about this kind of stuff is it
pretty
says
amazing.
it can hold 24 to 36 people, and it can be underwater for multi-week vacations.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
And it has like a helipad. It's got a pool. It's got
A pool? How does that work?
Dude, I don't know. And it also has a space for 2 mini subs. Because, when you have a sub, you got to have a sub family, like a super yacht.
Right.
Little babies.
I guess
And
the pool is for when you are on the surface, but
I
I don't know.
think
Do they fill it with ocean water?
I mean, this
I don't know.
this looks ridiculous. Look how big those penguins are compared to this.
Well, I'm not getting on that thing either.
What what's funny? I wouldn't either.
I thought you said during the break, I'll do this. This looks awesome.
I know I go to the space.
Oh,
I'd be an
okay,
idiot
yeah.
and go to space, but I wouldn't mean like even if there are guys like say I buy this, I'm like, oh, I got this cool super yacht. And after about 3 years of riding around, the guy's like, are you ever gonna go underwater? Like, no.
Just cruising on the surface.
We're never going to go underwater. But, I
What are
mean,
you, insane?
and then there you just be like, well, we can go down like 5 feet. 5 feet too much. Like,
That was just a drawing, you idiots.
yeah. I don't know this stuff.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of going to space, the other huge story, I don't know if it's huge, but it caught my attention.
When you say huge, like you talking big?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
huge, like big.
Like big, like huge.
This was the story of Elon Musk, who is sending people to space, or at least rockets, getting into a bit of a scuffle with Mark Zuckerberg.
Did they really get in a scuffle?
Well, they got into an internet spatter, right?
Really?
So I guess what
About
happened.
what?
Well, I think Zuckerberg is trying to start his own version of Twitter. There's a new, I forget what it's called, but his Meta company is starting a new company, and he's kind of throwing shade at Elon. And so Elon said something like, "Oh, I'll challenge you to a cage match." And I believe the response from Zuckerberg was, "Location, send me location," which sounds real intelligent. Sounds like a robot said that.
/ Meta.
Yeah. So I get. Oh, so here it is. It says that
That's what they're
Musk,
calling it. They're
Musk
calling it
recently
/ Meta.
tweeted that he would be up for a quote cage fight with Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg replied back with "Send me location." Well, if you're not aware, Zuckerberg has been fighting for years now. He's been
I've
training.
seen videos.
Yeah, I have
I've seen
too.
videos.
And I guess
I'm
that's
stalking him basically.
yeah, with you and everybody
I
else.
wonder if he has a super yacht that can go underwater.
I'm sure he does, but he only keeps it on the surface. He's in shape. Like he's been training. He's been doing jujitsu. I think is
it's
what he's doing
jujitsu.
for years.
I think he's doing. I don't think he's doing full MMA. I know he's doing jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Yeah. Well, I think this is
like grappling tournaments, not
Right,
like hand-to-hand
But
punching.
Does Musk really think like the extent of his training is watching Karate Kid 1 and 2? This guy's been doing this for a while.
I want to say this.
He's going to destroy him.
Regardless, I enjoy this kind of talk.
Yeah.
Because if you think about old rich dudes and when they try to talk smack, it's like it's not as entertaining. You know, because it's like they're holding their champagne glasses and they're like, well, you are an idiot. And it's like, well, you are a bastard of your mother's child. You know, they start.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna talk trash, but nothing comes from it. Well, these guys, this is great. It's like, hey, we got younger people, and I want the next president to be like, yo, you want to fight? That'd be great.
Well, this is going to be an amazing fight. It does sound as though they're quote unquote serious, but I do have a feeling that Elon's going to find a way out of this. There's no way he's going to actually go in and do a fight with Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg would. Have you seen Elon without his shirt on?
Well, first off, I'm pretty sure both of them have disabilities.
Of varying kinds. Well, what's funny is
So it's going to be funny to watch them fight.
what's Mark's disability?
It's going to be like the South Park cripple fight.
Elon does say he has a move, a signature move that he calls the walrus, where I just lie on top of my opponent and do nothing. With his body type, it makes sense. Wasn't that a move you did back in high school when you're trying to date girls?
Oh no! When I was dating girls,
That's your move, your signature
that's
move?
what I became known for.
The walrus.
Yeah, especially my tusk. You know what I mean?
Hey, now.
But again, this is great.
Known as the
And what I love though is Dana White's over here on the internet talking
he's
about
pumping it up.
and
He's trying to promote it.
and that's just so funny to me because it's like okay, let me try to word this in the nicest way possible. So it's like, imagine watching the Major League Baseball.
Okay.
And you're watching these professional athletes, like the MMA guys. You're watching these professional athletes punch each other in the face. And then all of a sudden, the biggest event that year is these normal people. And it's going to be so boring.
Well, it'll be over in 30 seconds.
I hope
man.
it will be winded in 30 seconds.
No, again, I think Zuckerberg is trained. He does this.
Yeah.
Did he win a tournament a couple of weeks ago?
Well, probably only one in his weight class.
Yep.
He probably designed it that way.
Sure,
you know?
but it's probably through some
You don't think
league.
there's some dude helping him going like, hey, this is if you really want to get some wins, this is how you do it.
I'm not saying that he's great by professional standards, but by amateur,
Well, he could
from
beat
what
you
I've
and me.
heard, absolutely.
So
He absolutely would tear us up, and he's going to tear Elon Musk up. That's
are
why
we,
I don't think
are
this
we
is going to
adding
happen.
him to the animal list that could beat me up?
Who could Elon
Is that
Musk?
what
Or
we're
I mean,
doing?
Zuckerberg.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's gonna be it's gonna be an entertaining fight. It's like if I was a professional
be
MMA,
huge.
if I was Conor McGregor, I'd be pissed.
Oh, because it'll garner more money and
Yeah, he's
attention
like,
than any
these guys
fight he's
don't
ever
even know
done.
what they're doing.
Right.
Ugh.
Well, Dana White says it would probably be the biggest fight of the century,
Yeah.
and I imagine in terms of money, it would be.
And I just watched Creed 3, so I know how that
You know
whole world
everything,
works,
right?
And how the matchups work.
Yeah,
and,
you're the modern day Don King now.
yeah,
right?
get paid. That's what they kept saying. Get paid.
What would be the undercard for something like this? Because they're going to have several fights because this is only
well.
Gonna last a few
That's
seconds.
when they put their money where their mouth is, and they force their employees to fight.
Yeah.
So it's like
Twitter versus.
Can you imagine
Twitter versus Meta?
The ID card? He walks up and it's like, I'm Joseph Smith, Facebook analyst for 20 years.
IT analyst.
120 pounds. Only eats vegetables.
I'm a systems engineer. Eat it.
I love it.
Maybe he could do the walrus on him. I love that. I don't think it's going to happen.
That'd be great.
There's got to be some way he's going to weasel his way out of this. But I have to admit, if it does go down, I am morbidly curious to watch this, man. It's going to be a complete disaster.
I think it's great. I think more rich people should get involved with hurting each other physically, violently too.
So it says that Oddspedia and Bovada, other odds makers, are giving Zuckerberg an 83% chance of winning the fight.
Well, no kidding.
I'm like, wow. 83, how is it not higher? I don't know.
We should do it on my super yacht.
No, they should do it from the bottom of the ocean.
In
a sub.
In the auction, like lower the auction while they're going.
Right. They got to go down 12,000 feet first and fight next to the Titanic.
The plot twist is we just shoot them out.
And then we shoot them from the bottom of the ocean up into space.
Halfway through the fight, you on the intercom, be like, attention fighters. We forgot to tell you, the loser of this fight will be sucked out at 1,200 feet below water.
Are you still showing the video, by the way? Or did you?
Yeah, I fixed it.
Okay. Just making sure, because no one wants to see the yachts.
I'm watching the yachts.
Yeah, I know. I can see you. You're mesmerized by these yachts.
Well, I mean,
wow, man,
it's like a James Bond thing.
It does look like something a James Bond villain would have.
Because if I was a billionaire and billionaires like to buy things, I'd be like, hey, look, I bought a submarine yacht. I've not heard anyone talk about that. No, I didn't know this existed.
That's because it's a drawing.
So it doesn't exist. That's sad.
It doesn't. I don't believe it exists. So did you see that the NBA draft happened over the week?
I did not care.
Yeah, I don't really either. It happened to be on while I was out to eat one night at a restaurant on my vacation. And what's interesting about this is the San Antonio Spurs had the number 1 pick.
Yeah, the tall guy.
That tall guy,
his
right.
Finger, you see his fingers?
Yeah, I saw a picture of him holding a baseball.
Yeah, he was at the Yankees. He did the first pitch. And I was like, oh, that guy's big.
So
he's a big guy.
So he
wants to play the NBA.
Yeah, his name's Victor Wimbayambi, I think, and he's from France.
Yeah,
he's 7'5", which is just incredible.
That's not that tall.
But it got me thinking: have you ever seen?
He probably can't fit on my super yacht.
No, he probably can't.
Yeah.
But the invite's there.
No, I would not want to hang out with that guy. I hate people that tall.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Have you ever seen in the wild a 7-footer before? You have.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I met a lot of tall people.
7 feet though?
Yeah, like 7'2".
Where? No, I'm not talking about like in an NBA game because you go to an NBA game, you're going to see somebody.
Well, yeah, I met him at I met NBA.
But like in the wild, you're walking around downtown
NBA players
Conroe
in person.
And yeah, no, okay, all right.
Like I met them, I shook their hands, and that's what I'm saying. It's kind of weird how big people are.
Yeah, they're massive,
especially football players. Like I met JJ Watt, and I didn't even realize it was JJ Watt. I had lunch with him. Because we're at this fundraiser.
Such a sports
we're
savant.
We're at this lunch.
I just thought it was this big dude pounding back subs. I had no idea.
I'm not kidding. I did not know who it was.
That guy just ate 15 ribs.
He was a big dude. And I was like, man, you're big. You must play football. And he's like, yeah, I do. I was like,
actually, I do. I'm probably one of the better players in the league. Thanks for noticing.
I'm JJ Watt. And I go, okay, I do know you. I thought I recognized you. And I shut up after that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just one of those things you don't really expect.
So you went out to lunch with JJ Watt. That's really cool,
it was
man.
actually it was at a bowling fundraiser.
Okay, cool.
It was when Chris Paul did his bowling fundraisers. You know, Chris Paul does that, the celebrity bowling, whatever. And they did it in the Woodlands, and I used the station, of course, to get in. And
I remember this. Wasn't LeBron James there too?
There's a bunch of famous.
Yeah.
I met Bun B. Didn't know who Bun B was.
Still don't.
He's a rapper.
Okay.
And
you could have told me anything. You could have said he was a famous
Baytown,
economist.
and he's a really.
Bun B, yes.
Well, I mean. Yeah, it's funny as I knew his music, but I didn't know who he was.
Right.
And I gave him pointers because you know how good of a bowler I am.
Right.
But I'll never forget. Yeah, like the lady who's coordinating everything, she's like, "Dick, you can go into the food room for everybody, or what do they call it?
I don't know.
You know what? During those kind of events,
sure,
like they have a room that's just filled with buffet food.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I was hanging out with all the bowlers. Like I met Norm Duke. I met all of them, like shook their hands, but I sat down and I was at a table full of the junior bowlers who were really good. and I was talking
None
to
of them were 7 feet tall, though.
No, they were all like 4 feet. They
Right.
were tiny. And because they're junior, I think they were like 14 years old. They got flown out to be part of the thing. And I think JJ was doing something with them in the competition, so he's eating with them. And
No, cool. Well, I was going to say that I have never seen a 7 foot tall person in the wild, right? Just walking around, I've never seen it. And the reason is because there are only about 2,800 people in the world that are 7 feet or taller.
See, this is where you get creeped
Okay.
out, though, and this is why I wanted to tell you. The reason I was telling you I met these people is like when you shake their hands, it's so weird to be flashback to like when you're a child shaking an adult's hand. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, that picture that we were just saying of Victor Wembanyama's hand covering
Like,
a baseball, it looked like a ping pong ball. in
Yeah,
his
like
hand.
he could hold the baseball in his hand. You couldn't even see the baseball. Like he could fully engulf it in his hand. Like
Well, again, there's very, very few of them. In fact, it's 0.000003% of the population is over 7 feet. However, in the NBA, 17% of all people over the 7 foot mark play in the NBA. And it got me to thinking, that's incredibly high percentage, obviously. So, in other words, if you're born over 7 feet tall, you've got a 17% chance of making millions of dollars playing in the NBA. Sounds to me like you don't even really have to be any good. You just have to be tall, and your chances are pretty good that you're going to make it in pro sports. Now, this is from a 2011 Sports Illustrated study that's had a lot of critics slamming it because it didn't really show 7-footers very positively that are in the NBA, telling them, hey, basically
not very good.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of talent. You're just tall. So there was a lot of controversy about it, but it is kind of interesting to think these guys are just tall.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I think each roster on NBA is 12 people, I think.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
think so.
that.
Yeah.
So
12,
they
15.
probably have some strategy play that requires a tall boy.
Well, that just tells you how sought after they are.
Yeah.
So, and this guy that went number 1 in the draft, he's apparently a can't miss pick. He's for his size, he can dribble and shoot and pass and do all this stuff. So we'll see. To me, most guys that are that tall never stay healthy. Their ankles and knees just give out.
Yao
on them because-
Ming?
Exactly. He was
Yao Ming
phenomenal.
was big.
He was 7'6".
He's a big guy. I met Yao Ming.
I have seen pictures of Shaquille O'Neal next to Yao Ming, and Shaquille looks small. It's weird.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Like
It's
when they
massive.
I forgot whose hand I shook.
But his ankles
I'm
went
telling
out,
you,
man.
I immediately felt like a child. I felt like here's me. Look, here's me, Andrew. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I mean, you basically go up to their waist.
Yeah, I can't.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I feel like their hands could crush my skull.
Yeah, so what do you think is considered tall for a girl?
For,
We're talking about
for
men.
like you're talking about
What-
average
now,
height for women.
No, I'm
or
saying,
you're
what
talking
do you
about
think is tall? What do you
like,
consider
you're
tall
talking
for a
about
girl?
what I'm attracted to? Or
No, those are two different things.
I'm trying to narrow it down so I understand.
We can talk about both of those.
I don't want to offend any woman.
you know that we're not
So I'm
worried
trying
about.
to make sure I
No.
understand.
I'm
the
just saying,
question.
what do you consider tall for a girl? And then we'll say, what height
Taller
do
than
you
me.
find
How about that?
attractive? And you're
How about
5'9".
taller than me?
What are you?
I'm 5'10".
You're 5'10". So
I'm average. Like I'm an average
you
male.
are. You are. The average height of a male is 5'10".
So if anyone taller than me, I feel like would be tall for a woman.
Okay.
Is
yeah.
that fair? Because women aren't traditionally taller than men.
Yeah. What I'm reading right here, it says 5'8" and above is considered just tall.
Yeah.
For
Look
a
at that.
woman.
I don't know if I
Because
offended
5'5" is considered to be average.
anyone. Yeah.
So there you go. And yes, 5'10" is the average height for a male. So
Yeah.
you are
I know I'm average.
average, just everything. Average old dick.
Average old dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Now
You can
on
reach
the
me
flip side-
at.
yeah,
Here's my phone number,
Here's
ladies.
my audience1@gmail.com. Average dick. So, what do you find attractive though? What height? Thing?
Well, one thing I have recently discovered is I do like smaller ladies.
yes.
I've recently realized that.
just discovered. Man, 5 foot.
And
that's
it wasn't
about
even
right.
it wasn't even pursued. It was just kind of like, oh, I guess, oh, great. Now I have to deal with this. I hate dealing with that because I always like to have an open mind when it comes to people, especially females.
Didn't know it was in you until you started dating a short chick and go, huh, I like this.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, researching height, I ran across something that was from 2007, and it was from 2 Harvard economists who were proposing to tax people based on their height. Yeah, I know. It sounds absurd, and it mostly is tongue-in-cheek. I think everything that I read about it was very, very case study,
I honestly
academic.
feel sorry for tall people
Yeah?
or bigger people. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, because they don't fit into anything, man. I mean,
Like,
look, that's a cool sports car, and your head sticks out.
Not even that, like your clothes. There's no way you can go to like any clothing store.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then-
they argued that taller people generally make more money. The taller you are,
I
the
believe
more
it.
money you make, and so they're like, oh, this is an equitable way to tax people. We'll just tax people based on height. And as a guy who's 5'8", I'm all about that. Sounds great.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, tall people. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I'm tall. One of my growing up, that was one of my. There's some picture. I wish I could find these pictures. You know those pictures you always had when you were like in second grade, but now you don't know where those pictures are.
The Olin Mills type picture or
Yeah,
something
well,
where you're
it's like-
standing in front of a
so-
backdrop of books, and
Yeah.
you have your hands appropriately placed.
My best friend in elementary school in Sugarland was Austin, and he was significantly taller than everybody.
Okay.
Like he was like I remember like in second grade he was I want to say almost 5 foot or something like that, like crazy. And we were best friends, so we were always pictures together, and I was always smaller.
Yeah.
And just the pictures of us together, we looked like brothers because we were both blonde hair. And everyone always said like someone got the better genes, and like everywhere
It's like
we
movie
go.
twins.
Like I remember we went to Six Flags, and there were some rides I couldn't ride on, but he could ride on all the rides, and I got so pissed.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "This is
that
BS.
happened to me a little bit as a kid
This is
too.
BS."
Yeah. So I know I used to compete in like the school end of the year track and field like events we did at my school, and one of the races was like water balloon toss, 3-legged race,
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. When we're in elementary, and they always say to pick someone in your same height for the 3-legged race because your strides will be about the same. Well, me and a buddy's name was Aaron. He was the tallest boy in class, and I was the shortest boy in class. We paired up, and we destroyed it. Like, we found out we were really good at it. And we started doing this in, like, the 3rd grade, and we destroyed it. The next year, let's do it again. Run it back. 4th grade, destroyed.
Run it back.
5th grade, destroyed. So by the time we got to 6th grade, everybody knew ain't nobody beating Aaron and Andrew in a 3-legged race. And I'll never forget our 6th grade year. We got, I guess, a little bit lax on it. And we're destroying, again, as we normally would. And I guess our feet kind of just got off. And down I went, boom. And he's still standing there. And, of course, the rest of the field's catching up to us. And he's like, no, we're not going to lose. And he literally just drug me across the finish line as I got my leg attached to his. And
Nice.
I went across the finish line on my back.
And then he tore your ACL. That was a great story.
No, I didn't. I don't have weak ligaments like you do.
Oh, you just have weak hips.
I don't have this story up in the run sheet, but I wanna cover it because I thought it was pretty interesting. And we've already done some visuals on this show, and I think this story is largely visual in a way. At least the accompanying story is. But there is a 37-year-old man claiming to be a time traveler was arrested when he threw a brick through a home of a window to save the occupants from a future event from occurring. So, okay, what's going on here? This seems kind of interesting. I love all these time traveler stories, which is, you see them from time to time, people claiming to be time travelers. Well, this one was pretty interesting. Well, on May 13th, Ocala police responded to a resident in reference to a possible burglary. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with victims who owned the home. They said that they told the officer that a crash woke them up and they heard their baby crying. When they went to check on their baby, they observed that the bassinet was filled with stuffed animals, was on the ground, the window was smashed, there was a brick that was on the floor. They looked outside their window and they could see that the gate was open. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could tell somebody was in and around the property. So when the police come in there and they start searching the area, they find somebody who lived in the neighborhood. His name was Daniel Robert Dinkins. I love this. According to the reports, officers told Dinkins
like
they
that.
were in the neighborhood investigating a burglary that had occurred down the road. And it says, Dinkins spontaneously told the officers, quote, yeah, that may have been me. He informed the officers that he went swimming at the victim's home and he, quote, may have thrown a brick through their window. Yeah, could have been me. But anyways, he went on to say that he was a time traveler and he needed to save the victims from an event that is going to occur in the near future. So, Dick, do you believe him? Is he indeed a time traveler?
I hope so.
You hope so. Because you want to believe this is true?
I literally am the X-Files I want to believe kind of guy.
Okay. Well, this is good. And I figured you would like this because I figured with as many sci-fi movies as you've watched, time travel had to have come up. So I want you to show the audience. There's a link in there.
I got
that
the
I sent
15
you.
odd pictures
Yes.
that could prove. Okay,
So
I'll pull it up.
Some of these are kind of dumb, but if you scroll down
Dumb.
past
This
that
is
one,
stupid.
the ones that I really like, because the typical ones are you see an old picture of someone, they're like, look, it's a cell phone, and the picture was taken in 1940, and it's always grainy and you can't tell. But the ones I like are the celebrity lookalikes.
Well, that does look a little odd.
No, a lot of these look a lot like him, and this one is of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I'm showing that one right now.
Yeah, and it's a striking resemblance. Again, there's a hipster traveling through time, nothing big, but when you get down to the Matthew McConaughey lookalikes, pretty interesting. I know this is probably more of a visual rather than for our podcast listeners, but I think some of these pictures are so hilarious. But the one I wanted you to see was the Peter Dinklage one. If you scroll down a little bit further, there was a painting from 1645 of a Spanish painter, Diego Velázquez, painted in 1645.
Ooh.
He looks just like Peter Dinklage. It's a little too strange of a resemblance, it says here. He does appear to be a little person in this painting. So there's also, Eddie Murphy, I think, is on in there. But these historical pictures really do resemble people, famous people now in the present. So I just thought I'd point that out. So
yeah,
you believe it's possible? I'm sure you've read books like, I don't know, fan fiction or some crap you typically read, right? You're probably watching movies.
I'm into that smut.
Yeah, I figured you'd be reading something where there's time travelers and this and that.
No, I like a good time traveler story. I like it.
Yeah, I figured, man.
As long as it's fun. That's all I care about. I don't like we got to get on to the scientific notion of it. And Primer's a good movie. If no one's seen that.
Primer.
It's called Primer. It's like a low budget movie. That's a fun time travel, like Back to the Future. Fun time travel.
Loved that movie.
They didn't really think too much about it.
Took place on my birthday, by the way. One of the times they traveled back, he's banging on a little machine. It was my birthday in 1985. Yeah. Pretty cool. Just saying.
Cool.
I was meant to be in that movie. You did know that somebody else filmed that movie originally, right? I'm sure you've heard of this.
Yeah, the actor, what's his name? The guy from Pulp Fiction. And
I can't think
Some
of it.
Kind of Wonderful. What's his name?
Eric
Stoltz.
Yeah, Stoltz. And they actually filmed a good portion of that first film.
Yeah, I think it was like half of it.
And was it Spielberg said, yeah, this ain't working, man. And pulled him. That's got to be rough. And then, coming in with
especially that far into it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they just knew it wasn't
that's the business.
And I've seen the outtakes from it. It's just really weird to see the famous scenes that you identify with Michael J. Fox, and it's this different actor looking at Marty and his dad in the diner.
Yeah, did you know if you watch those movies, you can see Marty McFly shake a little bit?
No.
I just lied about that.
I'm like, there's no way, because I think he said he first noticed it in 1991.
It was way later.
When he was filming Doc Hollywood,
No.
if I remember correctly, and those movies were made in the 80s. Well, the first one was 85.
Yeah.
The next ones were 89 or 90.
Time travel movies, man, they'd be good. They'd be good.
Yeah, they'd be good. No, but it is always interesting to see those pictures of, people holding a cell phone supposedly in like 1850 or whatever. It's like, wait a minute. What is that guy?
See, you know what? It's funny. We talk about time travel movies. I would love to get the audience opinion on this. So Marvel movies are huge. Everyone's kind of seen them. And I watched recently with my nieces and nephews, we watched The Avengers.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert for the movies, that was like one of the biggest movies of all time. 10 years. When did the Avengers Endgame come out? I don't remember. A long time ago, I feel like. Well, at the very end, what's his name? Captain America is like, I'm going to have to go back in time to drop this thing off. I'll be back.
Again.
Yeah, I'll be back. And well, it turns out he didn't come back. He stayed to be with his
girlfriend in 1945 or whatever.
But I was thinking to myself, I was like, all right, so basically what this guy just did was he went in the past where his past self is still existing, and he's frozen in the water. So this lady thinks he's frozen in the water, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden at the door is him. And so he had to explain to her, like, oh, hey, that guy still exists. He's still in the water. right? He has to be there. But I'm here. Do you want to hook up? You know what I'm talking about?
I think I'm understanding. It was himself.
It was himself.
So it's not really cheating because...
But it's like, but he's still there.
Yeah.
He's still frozen in ice. He's going to be there. And it's very important he stays there.
It kind of reminds me of the movie Multiplicity.
But see,
A little bit.
This is what's weird to me about time travel movies, because there's always those little introductions of things where, oh, if you step on a butterfly and that kind of thing. So in my mind, he goes back in time, tells this lady, like, they know they love each other. I get it. But he has to tell her that guy still has to be in the water. Like, he can't leave.
Because that will screw up everything on to the future.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then
it'll mess with the space-time continuum.
And then he has to exist in her world. So either he's living in the basement the rest of his life.
Yeah, because there's going to be two of them.
Dancing with her.
Right. Yes.
And then it's like, go to the grocery store. That's Captain America.
Right. That's why until he disappears, then
Does he disappear? Because he shows up really old in the movie because he's like, oh, I finally got my dance or whatever. But I'm thinking to myself, I was like, hold on, I don't understand this. I know how silly time travel is. The movie, it's a comic book movie. Who cares?
Yeah.
But
it don't make sense.
But it got me thinking about it. I was like, so is he trying to explain to this woman, like, hey, we can still hook up? Well, but this guy's, though, he's still in the water.
And now his poor girlfriend has to juggle between both of them, right? For like the next however long until they live. Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's really not fair. It's kind of a D move if you think about it.
Well, I mean, like, because I get that there's that, he should have been with his girl kind of thing. Like, but they never had the right time or they never met up at the right time. But now it's the right time because he can time travel. But
yeah, anytime's the right time.
But again, it's just like, it's just so funny to me that he has to live this underground life. I imagine Captain America like, oh, I got to wear my glasses and my coat wherever I go. Because he can't
waits for his other self to leave the house so he can perform his walrus move on his wife.
Well, no, because the guy's in water. You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember?
No, man.
Okay, so
I understand the premise of what you're telling me.
Yeah, so in the original Captain America movie,
I have seen it.
He sacrifices himself, crashes the plane in the water, and he's frozen for like 60 years.
Sure, and they unfreeze him.
Yeah. So in this Avengers movie, he goes back in time.
Okay, so there's not two. I mean, there's two of them, but he's in the water.
Well, he's in the water
the whole time,
and he has to make sure he stays in the water.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of funny because he's like, I can't show my face to anybody.
True. Okay,
I can't go out.
I was thinking it was more of a multiplicity thing.
Oh
no, two of him running around.
No.
Yeah,
and he literally can't tell. Like, I'm guessing she couldn't tell anybody.
And all three of them starts living with his wife.
Well, no, he hasn't woken.
No, I know.
She dies like right when he wakes up.
Because she's so old.
Yeah. So like that's where he always says, "Oh, we always found each other at the wrong time."
Yeah. Okay. Now I see. Now I fully understand.
So
what you're saying.
It's very well like
he has to change his identity.
But it's just
basically.
funny. It's like just thinking about that scenario where like your girlfriend can't tell anyone you have a girlfriend or boyfriend. He's got to stay in the house all times because if he goes out and gets discovered, they'll be like, "Oh, he really is alive." And then
would he go and visit his own crash site? Just look at himself
I
down
have
there?
no idea.
Am I still down
That's
there?
what I'm saying. Like,
Am I still down there?
It doesn't really that to me. I was like, oh, that's a can of worms. They just opened that up for me.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here still thinking about it. But time travel movies are fun like that. So
yeah, they are.
Send us your favorite time travel movie. That doesn't make sense. Like Time Cop, man, what a great movie. But again, just have fun with it. See that wasn't fun to me.
Yeah.
Because they made those little hints about him hooking up with the Agent Carter, but then it's like the way they did it was just like, I did it. And like, well, wouldn't there be like a huge issue?
Yeah,
where
there's a lot of details you left out there.
Because half the movie we're trying to solve those timeline issues, and you're just like, you freely go, well, we killed Thanos. I guess I can go back in time and just live there. Like, even after all that talk of like timelines and it's like,
screw it.
Okay.
It does kind of remind me the end of Game of Thrones, where suddenly the ability to travel and all this detail that went in for seven seasons of trying to get these clans together, they're just jetting back and forth, riding dragons, and all of a sudden time and space makes absolutely no sense to them. It's like, oh, it's of no concern. These people spent their entire lives not knowing the other clans existed. Now all of a sudden they're just like, hey, I'm going to hop on an Uber and be back over on this side of Westeros, and I'll see you this afternoon.
Yeah, I remember watching that show with a significant other, and I was like, around the time, I think it was like the fourth season, I was like, there's only been like one winter.
Right, but it's coming.
It's coming. Well, that's what I was like. I don't really get it because I feel like it would take forever to travel by foot with this army.
Yeah, it would.
And it's like, no, there's only been one season of winter. so far. I'm like, oh, okay.
They sped everything up significantly.
I
there,
mean, the
Dan. They
dragons
had
I
to.
get because they're flying.
Right, sure. Well, they can cover some
But like
space.
they have all those soldiers that have to walk.
Right.
So I don't know. That's why I love Dune. Dune figured it out. It's like, oh, we gotta get them across this planet. How do we do it? Worms. And then it's solved.
Yeah, and go right underneath the earth. Absolutely. All right, man. That's all I got for this week, Dick. It was fun. Glad I got to see you, and glad we got to get this show in, even though I was traveling. Maybe things will start to settle down here a little bit for me.
You know, next week is the 4th of July, and I want to remind folks there's a lot of cool 4th of July stuff in Montgomery County. Check it out, family friendly. I think I'm gonna convince you to go on Saturday with me to they have like a what's it called, Freedom Bash or something like that. Anything with the word freedom in it, I gotta check it out.
Sure.
And
yeah, Merca.
And there's like water slides, and there's dunking. When's the last time you threw a baseball at a Dunkin' booth?
Yeah, too long ago.
Yeah,
the answer is too long ago.
I saw that, and I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Audience One with Richard and Andrew, or Andrew and Richard. And then also we have our podcast anywhere. Subscribe, YouTube.
Share, follow.
Every Wednesday, 10 a.m. We love articles, crazy articles from 4chan.
Stay off of 4chan,
Make
kids.
sure to
stay off of 4chan.
audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. That's audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. Bye, Andrew.
Bye, Dag.